What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. This is going to be a very quick demo video today. This is for a Shadowfoil Hangman. Now, I've done a couple of these, a couple of installs on these previously. This hilt is a little different in that this is the steel version of the Hangman, and it is a beast. This is a hefty hilt. The steel, I mean, it really feels like you're holding a weapon with this hilt. So, same install, same chassis. So we're not going to get into detail on fusion or anything. So I just would like to talk about the hilt itself, and we'll go from there, right? So we don't even have to do a top down just yet. So this is it. This is the Hangman from Shadowfoil Props. This is the steel version. I believe only 50 of these were made. It's hefty. I mean, it's steel. It's a heavy hilt. The differences between the steel version and the aluminum are obviously the metal that it's composed of, but also I believe on the aluminum version, the blue part, the blue grip is anodized. On this version, it is painted. The greeblies, I believe the cover tech and the control box are aluminum anodized as well on the steel version. But obviously, it's steel. Now, another thing that you will probably notice right away is I have actually heat stained the emitter on this because steel, right? Steel is one of the only metals that you can heat stain. You can heat stain titanium. Titanium gets this really, really beautiful like purples and deep blues. But steel also heat stains. Whenever I see anything or have anything that is steel, I try to heat stain it just to make it look a little bit more dynamic. Like even hardware, some of the steel hardware like screws, grub screws, and things of that nature, I heat stain. So, client did want the emitter heat stained. I did come up with a contraption for this. So, obviously, you know, the grip unscrews. Before I installed it, obviously, I removed all the greeblies and all the switches, and I made an insulated holder that was just like a rod that went into this part of the hilt, and I spun it on my slow setting on my drill as I held a torch to it. This way, it was getting even coverage all the way around, and I could get an even stain on it. Probably not too necessary to do that, but I wanted to make sure that we had an even stain all the way around. So that's the way I went about doing that. The thing with steel too is it holds on to heat for a long time. So because this is such a thick machined piece of steel, after I heat stained this, it was still hot like 30 minutes later, right? But really, really cool look. Obviously, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? Anything with steel, we want to heat stain. But other than that, everything else was the same as the aluminum version of the hilt, right? So let's come up top, and we'll do a quick demo on how to use the hilt, right? So I have already removed the grip. The pommel does unscrew as well, but I just leave that screwed in when using the hilt because we have a magnetic pogo pin connector that we utilize with this. So anyhow, the grip unscrews. You want to take your chassis. So here is the chassis that I did for this install. Same chassis as I've done with previous Shadowfoils. It's just been given the rub and buff treatment, and it's got the same greeblies on it. I did do like a pass with some Tamiya pigments to make it look a little more rusted and things of that nature. The Proffie board sits in this tray, really easy to get at the USB and the SD card if need be, and we have a kill switch down in this area. Okay, so to use the hilt, you want to take your negative side, flat side, down towards the spring side of the chassis. So this was already on. If you don't hear an audible cue, it's because your kill switch is off, so hit that kill switch. So, as I said, these are those same magnetic pins, that magnetic pin connection system that I've cobbled together, right? So you want to take note of where that nubbin is, right? And that's going to marry into the hole side on the top of the hilt, right? And it just kind of clicks in, nice and easy. And there we go, right? So this is that 42 Neopixel array from Kim's Cantina. I actually, a previous client told me, so Shadowfoil includes 2 clamp cards, a solid clamp card and this translucent one. I actually didn't even know that you could put the translucent one over that Kim's Cantina PCB. It looks fantastic, even with that clear clamp card over it. Looks really, really great. So yeah. Anyhow, once you have your chassis in, you want to screw the grip back on. And we'll come down to the bottom camera now. And you're ready to go. Right? So Shadowfoil does ship with that same brass blade plug. There is a set screw, so let's take the blade plug out and put a blade in it. Really, really classy blade plug. Nice and simple. So I actually did this brass ring up here unthreads from the top of the emitter, and this also, I took this off of the acrylic so I could try to do some heat staining on it. I didn't want to get crazy with heavy weathering with like the, you know, that patina, that green patina. I didn't want to get crazy with that because this is not a heavily weathered hilt. In my opinion, it just looks fantastic the way it is, right? So anyhow, let's get a blade. Right, so you get your blade, slide it down your emitter, make sure it's resting on those PCB pins, and then tighten your set screw, and you are ready to go. Yeah, it feels hefty. I mean, well, I was like, why is it turning white? I've got fire swing on this blade style. It feels like you are holding a weapon. This thing is heavy. Let's see what else we have.
You can't run.
So I just put the same config that I have on my previous Hangmans. This is actually the same config that I have on my personal. So each blade style has a different animation on that Kim's Cantina PCB. Man, this is that's a chunky Obi-Wan font. Okay. Great feeling hilt. I mean, it just screams weapon because it's just so heavy, right? So anyhow, that's all I got. I just wanted to do a quick demo for this one. I had not yet seen a steel version of this hilt. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. And with that heat staining, I think it looks so much more unique, right? So anyhow, to the client, thank you very much for your trust in me with this build. Struggled through that. To the client, thank you very much for trusting me with your build. To the viewers, everyone, thank you very much again, as always, for your support. If anyone has any questions or comments, please don't be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Thanks for watching, everybody.